let's talk about something you see all the time in India. Something so common, we almost stop seeing it. This is a story about a simple yellow stain, but it's really about how one small shift in how we see things can, well, change everything.
You know, in India, that phrase, "wo pila daag," that yellow stain, you don't even need to explain it. We all know what it is. It's that side of a wall's stain from public urination. It's something people see every single day, complain about, and then, often, become a part of.
And this is what you hear all the time, right? That sigh of frustration. Man, this country will never change. It's this feeling that, hey, this is just how things are. But the story I'm about to share really makes you question that whole idea.
Okay, so let's get into it. Meet our main character, Rahul. He works in this super busy textile market in Surat. You can imagine it. Thousands of people, constant noise, and yeah, daily complaints about everything from the traffic to the heat to the smell. And for Rahul, a certain habit was just normal.
I mean, look at this. The difference is pretty wild. After a long day, Rahul would just pull over his bike and, add another yellow stain to a corner wall. But then, literally minutes later, he's scrolling Instagram, posting about dreaming of clean roads and a clean life in some other country. And this wasn't a one-time thing. This was his routine. It was just a normal part of his day that he never, ever thought twice about.
You know how real change often comes from where you least expect it? Well, for Rahul, it showed up in the form of his 10th grade sister, Nisha, and her school project.
So one day, Nisha just shows up at his shop all excited. "Brother," she says, "I have to take some pictures of the market for my Clean India project." And Rahul's happy to help, of course. He agrees to show her around.
As they turn down one of the back lanes, you can see Nisha's face just change. She kind of pinches her nose and asks this really simple, direct question. What is this smell? And Rahul, he just gives this awkward laugh and mumbles something like, "Oh, it's just how it is here."
Then Nisha lifts up her camera and points it right at a wall covered in those yellow stains. And the funny thing is, it's right underneath a sign that clearly says, "Urinating here is prohibited." I mean, the irony is just staring them in the face.
And then she asks the question that just floors Rahul. Don't people read? It's so simple, so logical. He has absolutely no answer. And right on cue, another guy stops and does the exact same thing. Nisha just lowers her camera. She looks at her brother and says, "How can I show this in my project? It's just embarrassing."
That feeling of public embarrassment, it sticks with him. It follows him home. And later that night, it turns into a much deeper, much more personal realization when he sees Nisha working on her school presentation. He glances over at her screen and reads this one sentence. "India isn't dirty. We make it dirty." And bam! It just clicks. It all falls into place. He's not just some guy watching the problem happen. He's an active part of it. He is the we. So when you have a realization like that, what do you do with it? Well, the very next morning, Rahul is back in that same market, faced with that same urge, and for the first time, he sees it as a choice. He looks at that same stained wall, but he's seeing it completely differently now. It's not just some random public wall anymore. It feels like his zimmedari. It's a great Hindi word. It means more than just responsibility. It's this deep, personal sense of accountability.
So the urge was the same, but his perspective, brand new. It was now filled with this feeling of responsibility. And so he made a different choice. For the first time ever, he turned away from the wall and just walked. He walked 5 minutes to the public toilet.
Now, nobody saw this happen. There was no round of applause, no pats on the back. But that one tiny, private decision, that was the start of a ripple that would actually change things.
So, over the next few days, he started asking his staff to do the same thing. He'd say, "Hey, I know it's a bit of a walk, but please use the public toilet." At first, some of them laughed in his face. Others just completely blew him off. But he didn't stop.
Real change rarely starts with a huge crowd. It started here with just 2 people. 2 of his staff members actually decided to listen and follow his lead. And that was it. That was the beginning.
But then, those 2 became 3, and then a few more after that. And very slowly, almost so you wouldn't even notice, the number of fresh stains on that wall started to go down. The change was actually becoming visible.
This tiny shift ended up being about something so much bigger. It was never really just about a stain on a wall. It was about totally redefining how Rahul and the people around him saw their own public spaces.
And the real proof came when Nisha visited him again. Now, she had no idea about any of this. She just looked around and said, with this surprised look on her face, "Brother, the smell is less today." For Rahul, hearing that was more rewarding than any prize he could have won.
Think about it. Rahul didn't change a law. He didn't write a new policy or start some huge campaign. He just changed one single personal habit. And what was his reward? No medal, no viral post. He got something so much better. He was no longer part of the problem he used to complain about. He was now part of the solution. And really, that brings us to the final question for all of us. What does that yellow stain truly represent? Is it just a mess on a public wall? Or is it maybe a reflection of how we treat the spaces we all have to share, the places we call home? Rahul's story shows us that changing that picture starts with just one person deciding, you know what, this is my responsibility now.
एक कदम विकसित भारत की ओर।